What's up, Pirates? Wraith here with OPTCG, and today we have more of a discussion video. As you can see by the title, I kind of want to go over something I've been arguing with some of my friends and some of my buddies, and so we can't come to a consensus on this. We can't come to a conclusion. So I want to know from you guys. So definitely join in on the conversation in the comments down below. I will be responding and sharing my thoughts with you guys in this video here. So basically, we have this card to preface. Somebody thinks doing something like this is cheating. So we have on play effect, right? Don -1, and then it says the effect is if your opponent has 7 cards or more in their hand, you trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand, right? The way we do this effect, your opponent sometimes shuffles their hand, lays it out for you. Your opponent picks the 2 to trash. Sometimes they just lay it flat. They don't even shuffle. They pick the 2, right? Everyone has their own method on how they want to arrange their cards as they lay them out. But ultimately, your opponent picks the 2 cards to trash. So we have the tournament rules manual here. Intentionally performing an action which allows you to gain or potentially gain an advantage over an opponent is considered cheating, right? It's an infraction that you can get through playing. And so, from my point of view, I don't think it's cheating. Let's say your opponent has, there's 7 cards in hand, and they know, okay, so this card here and this card, there are 2 cards in the end they want to keep. So, what if they just start shuffling their cards randomly like this, and then they end up with the 2 cards that they want right in the middle. And then they spread them out. They know the 2 cards are in the middle, but at the end of the day, your opponent's the one that chooses, right? So it doesn't matter, in my opinion, in what way you actually order your cards before your opponent trashes, because you lay them out. Your opponent is free to choose whatever 2 cards they want, whether you make it look a certain way to get them to try, to pick a card that you want them to pick. At the end of the day, it's their decision on what cards they're actually picking. So I think that's honestly irrelevant. I would not ever consider that cheating. But someone in my friend group is adamant that, oh, it's cheating. You're gaining an advantage over your opponent, making them think that. But it's like, how do you know you're actually making your opponent think that? And then so I give him the examples like, okay, my opponent is going to swing at me and I'm going to counter out. I go through my cards like this, and then give him this back card, right? And then counter with that, making him think, oh, maybe he's bricked in hand, right? It's up to your opponent's interpretation. And I asked him if that was cheating. It's like, okay, I'm going to counter. Okay, I'll use this card. Okay, make it seem like this card in the very back was the one with the counter. I give it to him. And then maybe your opponent tries to go for lethal or something because they saw that you shuffled through your hand and gave him that back card as counter, right? Is that cheating? Because according to the rules, technically, you're intentionally performing an action which allows you to gain or potentially gain an advantage, right? So you're giving them the last card. Maybe you set it there, maybe you set it in the back, and then you're going to counter. You choose the very last card. You're potentially gaining an advantage over your opponent if they think that that last card is the only card of counter in your hand. So technically, isn't that cheating as well? Clearly not. So this argument is honestly gone too far. We've been arguing for 30 minutes. I should have been making a video, and now I'm making a video on this to further explain how the way you order and randomly shuffle your cards before you give it to your opponent has literally no effect. And so now I'm making a video on this, and it's literally just to show you that it does not matter what way you order your cards. Your opponent is the one ultimately who makes the decision on what 2 cards to trash. You can separate these cards here, and give them to them separate like this. Put all your good cards on one side, put all your bad cards on the other. It doesn't matter how you give your cards to your opponent. You're going to lay them flat on the table for him. He is going to choose the 2 cards at his own discretion. It's not random. On your end, what cards where, where you put them. It's random on his end. He doesn't know what cards are where. He is going to choose 2 completely random cards that he wants to choose. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you really think this is cheating? Because at the end of the day, it says your opponent has 7 cards or more, right? That's the threshold. Okay, he meets that threshold, Don -1. You're going to trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand. You are trashing 2 cards from your opponent's hand, right? So they can shuffle their cards however you want. And if you let them influence you by them just shuffling in a weird way, and you see, oh, he's putting those 2 cards in that spot, and you're going to pick those 2, maybe they're the good cards, maybe they're the bad cards, that has no effect on which 2 cards you're going to pick. The 2 cards you're going to pick are the 2 cards you're going to pick, and whether they're good or bad is completely random. So I don't understand that argument from my point of view. His point of view is that you're potentially gaining an advantage over your opponent, making them think that, you know, hey, you know, I'm gonna shuffle these cards in a certain way. I'm putting these two in the middle. Boom. You know, choose the two in the middle that I put. Make them think they're really good cards. It doesn't work like that. Your opponent is gonna randomly choose which two he wants, regardless of what you do. You know, obviously there is mind games, especially in fighting games. That's some of my background is I used to play fighting games. There's a lot of mind games in fighting games, right? Are you gonna jab? Are you gonna throw? Are you gonna DP? Right? So definitely a lot of factors come into play when it comes to this argument. But at the end of the day, is, you know, he's arguing that these mind games are cheating. So, you know, potentially every single player at top tables is cheating because there's always something you can do to try to gain an advantage over your opponent when it comes to the mind games, right? Whether that be shuffling your hand in a certain way before you give it to your opponent for them to trash too. It's not like you're trashing too. Your opponent does. They're the one that's going to randomly pick. And so, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I know this is kind of a crazy video, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Honestly, I really do. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Let me know in the comments down below. I genuinely need to know how you guys feel about this topic. Like, do you think if you shuffle your hand in a certain manner, it's cheating? Because at the end of the day, are you not just giving your hand to your opponent and them choosing two completely random cards that they want to choose? So I'm really lost here on this argument. Maybe you guys can give me some insight on what the actual consensus is within the community. I would really appreciate that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know this is kind of a weird video to be making, but I really hope you guys actually comment down below and give me some info on your thoughts. That'd be pretty cool. I have a Patreon guide of my tournament report of Peoria. I got top 32. It's down in the link below if you want to go check that out. I have LA this weekend. I'm hoping to get a top. I have my editor working on my Moria guide. I can actually say this because it's actually in the works. My editor is working on a Moria guide. Hopefully it is out Sunday after day 2 or just before day 2. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. But you know, if he takes a little longer, that's all good. But it is coming and it's so close. It's almost here. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Anyway, guys, you guys have a wonderful day. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
To tell you I'm alright now, and I don't need you in my life, it's all alright now. I feel us breaking under pressure, let's just